Of all the t-shirts we know you own, on a video about somebody not liking boring colours, you choose that one.
Well, I'm sorry, Brad. My stuff is in the wash. I'm sure the audience can deal with me wearing a baby shit green shirt for one video. The Queen ranks alongside the likes of Barack Obama, Superman, and the Burger King as one of the most instantly recognisable people on the face of the earth. The Queen herself doesn't agree, which is why she's admitted to wearing nothing but insanely bright and garish colours in public so that she's more immediately recognisable to her subjects.
But she's the Queen.
I know, and what really cracks me up about that is, even though she's just the Queen of the United Kingdom and some other countries in the Commonwealth, she's still globally known as the Queen, even though there are other people who are queens, like Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, a woman I absolutely didn't have to Google immediately before this video. As an idea of just how globally recognisable the Queen is and for how long she's been in the public eye, she has been on so much money in so many places for so long, if you put them all side by side, you can literally see her age.
That can't be true. Like, they don't change the art that often.
You have to remember though, she's on a lot of money because she's also the Queen of a lot of other countries. And obviously they put her on their money too. And obviously when they change it, they need a new portrait. She's been in power for so long and has been on so much money in so many countries that you can actually get a slideshow of them all together and show her aging. So you basically get a picture once every year or two. So you can go all the way from her as being a young girl on this Canadian banknote to the modern day where she's like a 90-year-old woman. And I believe there is a clip out there somewhere of someone putting them all in order. By virtue of having her face on the currency of around a dozen countries for almost a fucking century, the Queen is one of the most eminently recognisable people on the planet. Think about it. Everyone knows what George Washington and Abraham Lincoln look like, and they're only on the money in one country. Think about how ridiculous that is. Like, people know Abe Lincoln, they know that famous portrait of him, and he's on exactly one bill in one country. The Queen is on everything from pounds sterling to dollars to rupees, and she has been for the better part of almost a century. And she still thinks people don't know what she looks like. Think about that. It's not that we don't know what she looks like, we've seen her age. We don't know what she looks like. We know what she looked like 25 years ago. We know what she looked like as a kid. We know every single stage of her life from about 8 years old to 90. Every snapshot of her aging has been captured and printed out literally millions of times over the globe. And she's like, but I have to wear these bright coloured outfits because people wouldn't be able to recognise me. The Queen is rather humble about her fame, explaining to a biographer that she honestly thinks if she didn't wear bright, garish dresses of a single colour when out in public, people wouldn't know who the hell she is. Which kind of makes sense considering she's spent like half a century appearing on TV wearing a giant diamond-covered hat. But come on.
Oh, really? Please.
Boo.
Was like the US president is head of a country for 4 to 8 years, and everyone always knows what they look like.
Yeah.
She's been in charge for like 70 years.
The best part is, she said this to a biographer who was sat there going, I don't think people would be able to know who I am. And she's saying this to a biographer who's got a picture of her face in his wallet. She's saying this to people. She's walking up to people in the street and meeting them and shaking their hand and doing all that, what have you. She's like, well, if I wasn't wearing this bright dress, they wouldn't know what I look like. It's like, are you being serious? Like, when they bought the can of Coke to stand in line waiting to meet you, they had to do it with a portrait of you.
So does she always wear ridiculous colours?
Pretty much, yeah. She always opts to wear usually a single coloured pastel dress with a very big hat of the same colour. And she's got an entire wardrobe of like the most bright, garish colours you can imagine. And commentators have noticed that she's literally worn all the colours of the rainbow over her reign.
Does she never wear dull colours?
Not in public, no. And she's actually made it known that she thinks if she wore beige, nobody would know who she was. Because she thinks that the look of her in one of those bright pastel dresses of a singular colour is now so iconic that if she didn't wear it, people wouldn't be able to pick her out of a crowd, which is, there's kind of a point there, because obviously when she meets people, she's probably in a crowd of like 10,000 people. So it's like, yeah, it's probably easy for the kids to go, Mummy, where's the Queen? Because, oh, she's that old lady over there, dressed like a fruit pastel. That makes sense, yeah. But when she's meeting people face to face and she still thinks that if she was wearing beige, you just think she was an old woman. It's like I get it. Like, if you met her in the street and she was just wearing beige, maybe you wouldn't double take and maybe she could walk straight past you. But you would recognise the entourage of 80 armed guards wearing bright red coats with big, giant, fuzzy hats. Come on, Lizzie. Give yourself some credit.
I love the Queen.
I fucking love the Queen as well. Every story about the Queen is always hilarious. I love the idea that everyone always treats her with this reverence. It's like, oh God, it's the Queen. Oh, Your Majesty. And apparently she just don't give a fuck. There's great stories from like people who work on her staff, and sometimes when she gets new members of staff, she'll wear the crown to eat her breakfast, just to freak people out. And did you see the interview recently for a coronation? Like, she gave a really rare interview to the BBC where they get a guy with like silk gloves to bring the crown in. Like, oh my God, here it is, the symbol of the British crown. And she just pokes it with her finger and goes, oh, this is like an 85 carat diamond on this. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And I said, oh, is the crown heavy, Your Majesty? It's pretty heavy, yeah. If I leant forward while I'm wearing it, I'll snap my neck.
You can't look down to read the speech, because if you did, your neck would break, or it'd fall off.
She's great. She drinks 3 gin and tonics a day and like a glass of champagne with lunch. Like, she's just getting hammered all the time as the Queen.
It's the only way she could put up with it.
No, apparently she just drinks all the time, because what else is she going to do? And there's great stories from people who met her, like at dinner and stuff, like all like Pembrokeshire corgis that she loves. There's a great story of she's having dinner with someone, and they were so nervous about having dinner with the Queen. Like, the first thing they did, like, the person came around and offering out breadsticks, and the Queen picked up like 5. And the guy was like, well, I better do what the Queen does. So he picked up 5 too, and the Queen just like nibbled it a little bit. And then her dogs came in, she gave one to each of her dogs. And she looked at the guy and went, what are you going to do with all yours? And he's just had like 5 big breadsticks going, oh God, and he had to eat them all. I love stories about the Queen, but I love stories about the Queen Mother even more. Apparently the Queen Mother was a proper lad. And there's a great story when she was driving in her car and they went past a pub called the Queen Mother. And she went, the Queen Mother? That's me. So she walked in and the barman started shitting a brick like, oh my God, it's the Queen Mother. What am I supposed to do? He goes, Your Majesty, would you like a bottle of champagne? And she goes, oh no, I'll get myself a pint, and hopped over the counter and pulled herself a pint. And you can see it, you get a picture of this, and the Queen Mother just pulling herself a pint. It's like, yeah, go for it. It's fucking awesome. The Queen, she doesn't need a driver's license. because obviously she's the fucking Queen. She drives around her like Scotland estate in like a Land Rover, and she speeds all the time because she owns all the land. I hope to God there was at least one point in history where she's driving to the shops or something in her Land Rover. She got pulled over, and the guy just pulls her over and goes, what do I do?
Move along, man.
I'm not going to arrest the Queen, am I? It's that whole joke, isn't it, of the Pope's getting a lift. He gets picked up from the airport, and he's like, can you hurry up, please? I really need to get to this meeting. And the guy's like, sorry, I've got to drive the speed limit, Your Holiness. And he's like, okay. A couple of minutes later, the Pope's like, I really, really need to get to this meeting. And he's like, I've got to drive the speed limit, Your Holiness. I don't want to break the law. And the Pope eventually gets so pissed off, right, look, I'll drive, you get in the back. And the guy's like, all right then, I'm not gonna argue with the Pope. Climbs to the back of the car, and the Pope starts tearing down the motorway about 150 miles an hour. And the police eventually pull him over, and the policeman knocks on the door and immediately walks over to his squad car, and he calls in and goes, excuse me, I don't know what to do. And the sergeant's like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? What's going on? There's a guy speeding here, and I don't know what to do. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I think he's pretty important. What do you mean important? Who is it? Is it the Prime Minister? I don't think so. The President? No. Well, who the hell is it then? Because I don't know who it is, but he's got the Pope driving him around. And it reminds me of the Queen driving a Land Rover, and you pull her over and you think, if the Queen's driving, who the fuck's in the back? That's the question, isn't it? There we go.